Transition, the process of change from one condition to another.
We are now at a new crossroad where change is evident once again.
What does not serve us must transform us anew.
Returning to our original state of oneness and true nature of that which created who we truly are.
Confusion was the way of the past. Enlightenment is the way of the now and future, shedding away the layers of deceit.
We now bring you the transformation of the two who started as one. Our fearless planet never stands still.
Earth has been in a process of transition, and we are not exempt from this remarkable, ongoing reality. Well, hello, and welcome to our little part of the world here, Real Talks with the Cummings.
It's been a long time. We were on vacation.
Yeah, we
were out in the polar north.
Yes, we were. It was cold. It was snowy, and for those of you who follow us on Facebook, we took some pictures, and yeah, it was a nice getaway.
It was peaceful. We got to enjoy, a nice fireplace.
Yeah.
And the place was really spacious.
It was. It had 3 floors.
Mm-hmm.
I was, even towards the end, I was still like, where's the, because the kitchen was on the top floor, and the
entrance was
in
in
the middle, and then the basement
on
on the bottom. But it was interesting. It was a little nice little wintry getaway.
Yeah. Went for a hike. The only warm day that.
Yeah, there was one warm day, and then the rest of it was like, okay, the first day we got there.
Yeah.
Because we usually go for a walk in the morning, and so we were going to go for our normal walk in the morning, and we step out, and it was like, oh, it's cold.
We had like mittens and heavy coats on.
But it was cold.
It was
very, very
cold.
Super. It was like
12
degrees wind chill or something like
and
that.
For people that live in Arizona, where it's 108 on average, that's a shock.
It was. But, it was a little, what's it called? Hermesis?
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, it's been now, like a couple of weeks since the election. We were a little bit disappointed.
To say the least.
The
The election came and went, and it was, I guess it was uneventful, actually, compared to what, we were
expecting. Yeah, because, usually it takes a lot longer to call it. And that's why we think that was a little bit of a foul play there. I mean, here in Arizona, the senator, was it Carrie Lake?
And Gallego.
It took them like a whole week to finally, and usually with the presidential stuff, they don't know that same day. They even said. So it was like, okay.
They're like, we may not know until like another couple of weeks.
Yeah. And it happened, instantaneously, it's like magic, like something,
Yeah, I mean, you were asleep by the time they finally called it, but
I was okay.
Like 1 a.m, and it was over.
Yeah. Which is very bizarre. I think, call me crazy, but I think there's a lot more to this whole political, religious world order that is in our horizon. There is something old that will be considered new, things from the past that are coming back now. Because I think the world goes in through these cyclical type of events and things. And, something's lurking in the dark. And, I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it almost feels like we're in the twilight zone. You know, it really does. There, listen to this video. I guess it's Agenda 47, right?
Yeah, part of it.
Part of it. And I guess we'll share
It was like
this.
back in May of 2023, I think. And he was talking about this wonderful celebration that he wants to put on next year into the following year, celebrating the United States 250-year birthday.
Yeah.
But
And
the things that he wants to do are things that, like, I think we talked a little bit about the Tartarian Empire,
yeah,
about the mud flood theory, and about these older cities that aren't really like what people think they are, and some of these structures and buildings that have a lot in common with each other.
right. And that there's no way that our civilization could have actually built any of these buildings. I mean, we didn't even have the power tools. We were walking around in horse and buggy.
Yeah.
But you know, you really don't let this in your eyesight till someone mentions it to you, till you realize, yeah, how in the world did we get these big, huge doors? And we've had shows about that in the past. Well, the thing is that we didn't build those things. Those things were here. And somehow, some way, timelines, there's no human explanation for this, but there's something really weird.
There's something really, I mean, I don't know. Things aren't what they seem to be.
Right. And then when they talk about fairgrounds, there was actually one of the pictures in Tartaria that they said they had a lie, of course, that they built this whole thing for just a day.
Yeah, it was one of the world's or several world's fairs, turn of the century into the beginning of the new 20th century, back 100 years ago. And they had like these full scale, massive, like architectural marvels that you would just look at. And they had like, some of them had lights and stuff in the 1880s, 1870s.
When electricity wasn't invented yet. You know?
And this is where they have the incubator babies, and they're buying Cabbage Patch Kids. You know.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like strangeness. And I just found it funny that your president, I guess our president too, whether we want him or not, was kind of alluding to bringing some of that back. And
back in the sense of like creating another type World's Fair where the world community was going to come and look at the things that they've done, and you know, and they're going to build this big exhibit, you know, like it's weird.
It's very strange.
Last time they did a big exhibit around like the turn of the century, they had people like from different countries that were caged, that were on exhibit, to show the world or to show the United States what a African, you know, looked like. You know, so they had them like they were like some kind of wild beast in a enclosed cage.
So he's basically wanting to celebrate the 250 years of this project, the United States of America's experiment. Right, because this was never really meant to be anything other than an experiment to see if it would work, right? And I don't think it's working very well. It's about to end, and so we're going to go ahead and read here. He made a video. He pledged to honor America's founding in 1776 with Salute to America 250, a one-year celebration, a whole year of celebration of 250 years of America independence, with Iowa at the center of the action.
He says 3 years from now, and this was done in May of 2023.
Yeah.
So, like over a year and a half ago.
Right.
3 years from now, the United States will celebrate the biggest and most important milestone in our country's history. 250 years of American independence, President Trump said. That's why, as a nation, we should be preparing for the most spectacular birthday party. We want it to make it the best of all time.
Now,
you know how he loves making
everything bigger and
best.
better and the best. Now, mind you, he's not president during the time he made this video.
No.
So, did he know he was going to be president now? And he was just, this was like a prelude. Now, once back in the White House, President Trump will work with America's 50 governors to create the Great American State Fair. Right there, once back in the White House.
Mm-hmm.
So he's already, was he elected or was he selected, right? Did the elites that are bringing in
his website?
Yeah, the elites that are bringing in the world order, one world government, one world religion, and all that stuff, and Christian nationalism, which is, what they want to make the religion of the land. So to create the Great American State Fair in Iowa, host major sporting events with American high school athletes, and that just reminded me of
the Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games, right? And sign an executive order to construct a National Garden of American Heroes.
So of course he wants to make his own statue.
Of course.
To showcase our great country, President Trump will invite leaders and citizens from around the world to visit the United States. Although he's been trying to get people out of this country, of course, by next January, he's going to sign an executive order to unleash the hounds of hell to get all these immigrants and people who've been here for 20 plus years out.
Right.
So President Trump will ask courageous religious communities to pray for our great nation.
Now, this man is not a Christian. He pretended to be one the first time around because he needed all the votes and stuff. But this is kind of like really Twilight Zone to me. Ask American courageous religious communities to pray for our great nation. Now, was it the man that had control over Germany, Hitler, also used the church tremendously in all his...
The church made a bargain with him.
Yes. So there's something very deja vu going on here, regarding this. So celebrating with Iowa at the center of the action, President Trump pledges to honor America's founding in 76 with a full year celebration. On day one, convene a White House task force, salute to America's 250 responsible for coordinating with state and local governments to ensure an entire year of festivities across the country from Memorial Day 2025 to July 4th, 2026. I envision this Hunger Games and like that movie that we saw, what was it called, a couple of weeks ago, where they had these big events and
Megalopolis?
Yes, that weird movie. Yes.
Work with all 50 governors to create the Great American State Fair, a unique one-year exhibition featuring pavilions from all 50 states. My hope is that the amazing people of Iowa will work with my administration to open the legendary Iowa State Fairgrounds to host the Great American State Fair and welcome millions and millions of visitors from around the world to the heartland of America for this special one-time festival.
It doesn't, first is immigration shut down, get them all out. Now he's welcoming all these millions but there's probably all millions of elitists, kings and queens and princesses and all sorts of people in the high ups. Host major sporting contests for high school athletes to allow young Americans from every state to show off the best of American skills, sportsmanship, and competitive spirit.
Trans people
not invited.
Not invited.
Yes, that's in the memo.
Sign an executive order. He's going to be signing so many executive orders.
He's going to get carpal tunnel.
He's going to be legislating via the executive order. There's not going to be a Congress that's going to need any validation. I even heard that some of his picks, he's going around the FBI investigations in order to get them in. I don't know how these things are done, but Apparently, if you're Donald Trump, you can do anything.
Anything.
Sign
Yeah.
sign an executive order on day one to bring back the National Garden of American Heroes and commission artists for the first 100 statues to populate the new park. That sounds really creepy.
Yeah, like dystopian. Like I feel like I'm watching like the movie Equilibrium or something that has like even what's that Demolition Man. There's just something
It's
like
just something really weird.
I don't know. Is it just us or this just sounds,
I
a
don't know.
bit
I mean,
strange?
100 statues being commissioned by different artists. It's like back in the 1880s, some of these Wikipedia like uh, information pieces about the different buildings that were built, and
Mhm.
amazingly, a fire has destroyed most of them.
Yeah,
Have
because
been in their narrative. If you ever have a chance to watch this guy, he's got a YouTube channel called My Lunch Break. He can go into more detail about that stuff. But every single time on Wikipedia, when he reads out the different building in a different country, there's always a fire associated with it, or the fact that there was a commissioned contest of like architects or
yeah,
people to work on a building,
and now he's doing the same.
it's
Yeah,
like
so
this
it's
is the
like
same kind of thing.
when
It's so
we
weird.
saw the video, we're like, we both looked at each other and go, "Oh wow!"
Whoa.
It's like you've got to be in the know, and you've got to been watching the things and understand for it to like really ring the creepy bells. Invite the leaders and sit down. Okay, I think you've already said that. Ask Americans, great religious communities, to pray for our nation and our people as we prepare for this momentous
Of course,
occasion.
if you're a Muslim or
Yeah, only
you're
you're not invited. No trans, no other faith other than Christianity.
no pagans.
No pagans. No, they don't want us dancing to the moon and any of that stuff. So
Offering an inspiring and unifying vision of a successful American future. This plan built on President Trump's long-standing commitment to honor our nation's 250th anniversary and offers Americans from every state, of course, if you're an immigrant, you're gone by then, in the Union, the chance to come together and share innovative visions for a successful American future. And like I said, in an earlier form of this type of celebration, which people did back in the World's Fairs of the past, they had children in incubators with parents that I don't know where they were,
right,
but they were orphan children.
right. But they were trains that
Right, they had orphan trains, but
Yeah.
they had these little preemie babies.
Mhm.
And where did they come from?
Mhm.
And where were their parents? So he wants to do exhibits.
Exhibits.
So exhibit what?
Exhibit. I know, and it's like,
Are
and
they
we're-
going to exhibit Neuralink and stuff and
I
have
don't
different
know,
people?
because now
that-
we've got all these players, Elon Musk, which I frankly believe that all these people, including Trump and his Nephilim looking child, that is like I've never seen a
Who's
taller human.
he has like time travel type
Yeah,
things associated to him.
yeah. So all this is very Twilight Zone-ish. I'm telling you. I mean, it's like a bloodline. Uh, the bloodline that was responsible for building all this stuff that were for giants. I mean, we've shown you videos where the doors are like giant doors that no human being could even go and grab and open the door. But his kid is that bloodline.
Yeah, he's
And
super soft.
yeah, so I mean, maybe we're just reading too much into this,
No.
but it kind of like it's something
And
to
it's
be
almost
considered.
like that whole concept of like, are they really selected? Because this next sentence is stating something.
So, in his first address to a joint session of Congress in February 2017, President Trump noted in 9 years, the United States will celebrate the 250th anniversary of our founding, 250 years since the day we declare our independence.
So he's in Congress in
Yeah.
2017, giving this address about something that he wants to get done
Uh,
in 9 years. And he's not been president throughout that time,
no.
but he initially said it
Uh-huh.
when he was president. Then he wasn't president. Now he is going to be president again.
Right.
And it's just weird that he would think it was that important that he would tell people 9 years ago,
Yeah.
thinking that, okay, I'm going to be selected
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, because the world's a stage, folks. You all think that things just happen randomly, but it doesn't. We've got a bloodline, kind of like the mythological movies where the Greek gods looked at us and they kind of were playing chess. Everything is planned. Nothing is by coincidence. Every weather event, everything that takes place has a purpose behind it and being puppeted by higher ups. Let's just leave it at that because it gets weirder than that. But
President Trump stated, when we fulfill this vision, when we celebrate our 250 years of glorious freedom
freedom for certain people.
we will look back on tonight as when this new chapter of American greatness began. And just like wondering, is it American greatness when people don't know that they may be replaced by AI, humanoids, or that we're going to get implanted with some type of Neuralink device to make us compliant so that he could carry out that American greatness story that he wants to carry out?
It's kind of like really, really creepy stuff. Anyway, President Trump has promised to finish what he started. Oh, you already said that. President Trump believes that the Great American State Fair will showcase the glory of every state in the Union, promote pride in our history, not to be confused with Pride Fest, and put forth innovative visions for American future.
So Tony Stark, Elon Musk is going to be there showing off all the innovations.
All his robots. What is it? Oxen? That's some new robot that he has. Yeah. So that's why.
Honoring America's history throughout his time in office, President Trump has consistently celebrated the glory of American independence. During his time in office, President Trump honored our country's founding in special remarks to the American people on Independence Day.
On July 4th, 2019, President Trump delivered Salute to America remarks at the Lincoln Memorial, where he said, with a single sheet of parchment and 56 signature, America began the greatest political journey in human history.
And with one pen, he's going to take that and dismantle it.
Yep.
In his 2020 Salute to America Independence Day remarks, Trump said, 240 years ago in Philadelphia, the 56 signers of our Declaration of Independence pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to boldly proclaim this eternal truth, that we are all made equal by God. Of course, if you're African American, that didn't include you, or if you were in
Puerto Rico,
you were native, that would be Puerto Rican probably.
Yeah.
You were considered a savage, not even a human.
And, if you're not white, Christian, having a ton of babies, then, of course, it doesn't apply to you. Fill in the blank. So the president added, thanks to the courage of those patriots of July 4th, 1776, the American Republic stands today as the greatest, most exceptional, and most virtuous nation in the history of the world. Most hated and most
in his remarks at Mount Rushmore on July 3rd, 2020, remember those?
Yes, presidents defaming the mountains.
President Trump noted our founders launched not only a revolution in government, as which he's going to do, but a revolution in the pursuit of justice, equality, and liberty and prosperity. It was all made possible by the courage of 56 patriots who gathered in Philadelphia 244 years ago and signed the Declaration of Independence. They enshrined a divine truth that changed the world forever when they said, all men are created equal.
But not all men. There must be some sort of asterisk. Yeah, all white men. President Trump added 1776 represented the culmination of thousands of years of Western civilization and the triumph not only of spirit, but of wisdom, philosophy, and reason.
In July 2020, the president took action to establish the National Garden of American Heroes, a statuary park that will memorialize our American heroes for generations to come.
And where are they getting all the money for this? On September 17, 2020, Constitution Day, the president convened the first White House Conference on American History to address the ongoing attempts to distort American history, history. See, because they want to create, they want to remove all the stuff that,
all the bad stuff,
the stuff that just doesn't fit in their little narrative, and place it just kind of like what they've done with the Bible.
Yeah,
they've removed, burned books. Yeah.
During the conference, President Trump declared, "To grow up in America is to live in a land where anything is possible, where anyone can rise, and where any dream can come true. All because of the immortal principles, our nation's founders inscribed nearly 2.5 centuries ago."
This is what they want to do. They want to make America great again, bring back all the religiosity, Christian nationalism, and all that stuff. In November 2020, President Trump also created the 1776 Commission to improve understanding of the history and principles of our nation founding among American rising generation.
So basically, let them know what he wants them to know. Anyways, what he doesn't want them to know.
Yeah.
In its 1776 report, the Commission stated, "As we approach the 250th anniversary of our independence, we must resolve to teach future generations of Americans an accurate history of our country so that we all learn and cherish our founding principles once again."
And I think the rest is the same thing. So, but he is going to defund the education system. So I guess that'd be homeschooled.
I guess so.
The kids will be homeschooled and taught exactly what he wants them to be taught. Yeah.
It's pretty insane, though, when you think about it.
Totally.
It's like you could read this in a positive light, and you could also read it in a dystopian light.
And I tend to believe it's more dystopian than anything else. And I tend to believe that it's more dystopian because as soon as, like a couple of days later, make sure that went through. There it is. Let me see if I make this bigger. Is that as big as it goes? Go here. Zoom in. Zoom out. So you have President Trump, picture there with Elon Musk, and I don't know whose kid that is. It's on top of Elon Musk's shoulder. But he wrote
Novus. His kid's name X.
Oh, Novus Ordo Seclorum. Okay. What does that mean, folks? Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new order of the ages is born, is the meaning of the Latin phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum, which can be found on the back of the US dollar bill. If you all have a dollar bill, take it out, turn it around, look at the back of it, and you'll see a pyramid, an all-seeing eye, and the words Novus Ordo Seclorum. Basically, the New World Order, right? The U.S. citizens are concerned with the passage of time, the near future, acting in a timely manner and accomplishing tasks efficiently. And they've been at this for a very long time. That's why they put it in the back of the dollar bill.
The New World Order. This is what Americans voted for. You may not realize it, but my country got duped by a man with the same charm and political aspirations. Castro and Trump are very similar. He promised us the stars and the moon, and look where Cuba is at.
My people believed and trusted him. people were tired of the old government and look at what they got. Let's hope the same doesn't happen here. So this to me is like it kind of brings a deja vu of what Cubans were with the revolution, what they were promised, and we're all gun ho, and everybody wanted Castro. And look at what Cubans did.
Yeah, I mean, I just see what's taking place in the United States right now with the billionaires who support Trump very openly, oligarchs, you know, not unlike what has happened in Russia with Russian oligarchs who do the bidding of Putin as long as they are in his back pocket and they give him what he wants, he gives them what they want, and it's a deal.
Totally. I mean, well, isn't that what a lot of these you look at throughout the world? Like, there's been a lot of these oligarchs type of control system where people with money, Russia and and a lot of other countries have. That's how they've created their political system. These people with money and power, and people think that it's going to be a good thing. I beg to differ. I mean, I have no skin in this game. Whatever goes is going to happen. I'm not afraid. Like I said, I came from a country that, was destroyed basically by this country. And I don't know. It just, I'm almost like, well, you guys wanted it. You're going to get it. Karma is an SOB. And, I don't think he won that election. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, with what happened back in, a few years back when this guy, the richest guy in the world, basically decided to spend $44 billion on the biggest social media platform in the world's what they call town square. And he literally reinvented it to push his agendas, to push his any tweet that he made before he turned it into X. I don't know what they call them now whenever people tweet. I guess they go Xing or something. But he literally reformed it, reshaped it. Welcome back Trump into the platform. Welcome back a bunch of people that have been banned by Twitter initially because of their off-the-wall comments and things that they said that were very damaging and dangerous. And he literally knows software. He knows, he's got satellites up in the sky, Starlink, and he's got, all this influence. And, they could have had something brewing from a long time ago. And, we in America, people don't have basically more than a 6th grade reading level.
Yeah.
So if there's something that went on and happened that has to do with how you control the algorithm, how you control the machines, and if everything's connected to the internet, it's so possible.
Easily to be hacked, Like I even heard like for every 3rd vote that Kamala got, it would go to Trump. I mean, there's just many things in this day and age that could happen. I mean, there were mailboxes that were burned. There were a lot of these voting boxes that were burned as well. They were tampering. They were messing with it. Wasn't in Georgia that they had some sort of like riot or something during,
they had like a bomb scare.
Scared, yeah. I mean, all sorts of different things. Like I said, it was way too quick, too soon to know. I mean, it was just if you feel it and you know it, something wasn't right. So here are a few things, and we, take it with a grain of salt, if you will, but these are things that need to be put out there for people to really question how fair were these elections. Like, hey, he went on for the whole 4 years and the election was stolen.
And he also stated before, I don't need your votes.
Yeah.
I already have a plan.
Yeah.
We all thought he was going to fight it in the courts.
Yeah.
But
It
he
didn't
didn't
even
have to do that.
No.
It went as smooth as butter for him.
Yeah, I just can't believe that he got the popular vote and he got all the electoral votes. I mean, when we were watching, I was seeing the numbers, and the numbers weren't climbing at all for Kamala. And he was just, I'm like, there's just something's going on here. I'm sorry. I don't see it being legit. Anyway, so while I was writing the previous post, a new story came out that confirms the existence of more missing votes due to a software error.
Yeah.
Bigger.
Today, 3 days after the election, officials in Calhoun County, Michigan, announced the discovery of thousands of absentee ballots that hadn't been tallied due to a software error, quote unquote. 12 precincts from the city of Battle Creek, Michigan experienced the technical issue. About 4,000 votes were incorrectly reported.
The missing votes may impact the Michigan state legislature race, in which the Democratic candidate was thought to be 1,381 votes behind his Republican challenger. Officials say the error is the process of being corrected. It's in the process of being corrected.
How many more missing votes are out there waiting to be found? If 4,000 ballots were incorrectly tabulated in just one of Michigan's 83 counties, that could represent over 300,000 votes. The issue is consistent across the state. Former President Donald Trump only leads vice president by about 80,000 votes in Michigan at the time.
Right.
But, these are all, and for people that, they look at it and hear us making these statements, there are so many people that made all kinds of statements last time. Stop the steal.
Yeah.
It was ad nauseum. They showed this one young, I don't know, I think she was like a young Gen Zer, and she's like, when the Republicans lose the election, they riot. When a Democrat loses the election, they open some candy and eat it. It's like, we don't get violent.
No, and it's like no one has really made us think about it, and I find that to be pretty weird, that it was just like, oh, okay, I guess we lost, I'm speechless really, because it just, things don't appear.
Biden meeting with Trump and them having an extended long meeting, and him giving them all kinds of accolades and stuff, and a guy that was being called Crooked Joe by Trump, and calling Kamala all these bad names and stuff from the stage. It's just like, wow.
So, more evidence of a potential stolen election. I came across detailed analysis from an election security professional who also concluded that the vote machines had been hacked. So Stephen Spoonmore is a tech entrepreneur and an IT security expert currently living in Center County, Pennsylvania. Spoonmore has a history of detecting and analyzing voting machines vulnerable in security breaches. That's as big as it gets. He is also politically active, having run as independent candidate for District 1 of the Ohio House of Representatives in 2016.
So on election day of the 2004 general election, Spoonmore noticed I can't read it.
Yeah, it's just because it's small on your page. See, and then I do that, and it makes it even
But you
worse.
can read it if you can see it. You can't go Google Chrome.
That's as big as it gets. Because it was small, really small on your thing. So, the election day of 2004 general elections, Spoonmore noticed inconsistent voting tallies in a handful of counties in Ohio. He identified it as a man in the middle um, MITM attack, meaning a hacker connects a computer between two parties in a communication channel. His professional opinion is that the county level tabulation had changed results during the night of the election, flipping votes from Democratic candidate John Kerry to incumbent President George W. Bush. And I remember that because I voted for Kerry, and it was like, how could this happen? You know? So I mean, I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but you guys get the gist that it literally just anything can be done. Anything could literally be done to flip the votes to make it appear a certain way um, in the tabulation. You know,
Early on in the election night, Trump was actually talking about, some kind of shenanigans happening in Pennsylvania. He was calling the cops to go investigate.
it's too small.
It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
Asking the cops to go and investigate. Those are all individual pages. That's why.
Yeah. But
Going to
even
each page.
yeah, but even if I do, it only goes
That's pretty.
so far. Okay, go ahead.
So here's some reasons why people think the election was stolen. Is there was a record turnout, but fewer votes. The big news story on election day was about states, especially swing states, experiencing record voter turnout. The electorate was energized and engaged, with voting precincts and polling places reporting crowds even higher than 2020 never before seen figures. Michiganders are already voting in record numbers, said Jocelyn Benson, Michigan's Secretary of State, that morning. It's a great thing for voters and for democracy.
Georgia's record early voting brought in more than half of 2020's total turnout. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, Asperger or something like that, confirmed that the state broke an overall voters record despite bomb threats temporarily closing polling station. CBS News reported high turnouts in Pennsylvania as well. Election workers at polling station in Minnesota saw some of the highest turnout they have ever seen on the job. Central Wisconsin had unprecedented number of voters and long lines, surprising even those who predicted record turnout.
There was no doubt that Americans flocked to the polls like never before. Voters were especially driven to vote for Kamala Harris, whose historic candidacy had led to 2008 Barack Obama-like enthusiasm. In fact, a recently released Gallup poll found Harris had a 72% favorability rating among Democrats. According to Newsweek, that's likely the highest for a Democratic candidate going back almost 70 years, and ties Harris with Obama just before he was elected president for the first time.
Now, mind you, there were like 15 to 20 million votes missing. Okay, there was a greater turnout than even with Biden and Biden's win, which they claim was stolen. So put two and two together here. And yet Harris earned only 69 million votes, a full 12 million fewer votes than Biden's 81 million 4 years prior. Donald Trump votes total trailed about a million behind his numbers from 2020 as well. How could the 2024 election, with widespread record-breaking voter turnout, result in overall fewer votes being cast than in 2020 elections? The difference isn't small. It's around 13 million votes. So either all those poll workers and election officials who told reporters about unprecedented turnouts were very, very wrong, or were missing 13 million ballots. That's more than enough to swing an election many times over.
What about just Philadelphia? Okay, you're saying, couldn't the record high turnout just be isolated to some areas? If other places had low turnout, that could lead to lower vote totals. Mystery solved. Yes, smarty pants, that is possible, but it's not what happened. Let's look at one specific city, Philadelphia. Turnout in the city of brotherly love is critical for any Democratic candidate that wants to win the key battleground state of Pennsylvania. And whoever wins Pennsylvania usually wins the presidency. So we can use it as a microcosm for the whole enchilada.
Now, notice that she was leading in Philadelphia.
Yes, she was.
And then all of a sudden, with a flick of a keyboard, da-da-da-da, he became the lead.
Well, she was leading in
Pennsylvania. Right. And then all of a sudden it was like, what? Whoa, what happened? So just lots of foul play here. The Philadelphia Inquirer reported long lines around the Philly region in both the cities and surrounding suburbs throughout the day, and even as polls closed. Philadelphia Mayor Cheryl Parker said she was super excited about the turnout she was seeing in the city. You've got to feel it. It's palpable energy, Parker said. Can't create it. It comes from the ground up.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro agreed with Parker, saying, and what we're seeing is just sort of anecdotal right now, but kind of extra high turnout in the early part of the day, particularly here in Philly, so I feel really good. And yet, despite stories of long lines and extended wait times, we're being told that significantly fewer Philadelphia voters participated in this election. As of Wednesday morning, only 676,016 votes had been counted, about 60% of registered voters, significantly less than the 749,317 that voted in 2020.
So how much here? I think it's a real big crisis. However, said we're talking about 20 million to 30,000 to 30,000 votes. I mean, that can't sway an election, and sway an election it did. Now it's funny. He specifically mentioned mail ballots because uncounted or missing mail ballots. There are dozens upon dozens of people online reporting they mailed, deposited, and surrendered mail ballots in swing states, but their votes was not counted. There are too many to link all of them, and they have unverified, but the despair and frustration from these disenfranchised voters is overwhelming. Another thing that we noticed is, I don't know if any of you got this postcard in the mail, handwritten, and your name wasn't on it. Our name wasn't on it. It's like, thank you for voting such and such.
Somebody else's name.
Somebody else's
as
name.
If somebody else's name was used on our address to place a vote.
And, when we saw it, we didn't pay any mind to it, but we watched this video, which we're going to kind of like go over some of her points in the video. That she talked about the postcard. We both looked at each other like, we got one of those.
Yeah, it was like postmarked from Colorado.
Yeah, and so I'm like wondering, well, did that? Because I mean, Arizona, Biden won last time.
Yeah,
and you have Gallegos, the Democrat, won.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mark Kelly won last time.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I think something is really wrong here. Something terribly, terribly wrong, and just I don't know. You tell us. I mean, are we seeing ghosts, or is there a reason to believe that there has been foul play involved in this whole thing?
I think also there's something to do with this dichotomy of these two different narratives that are playing out. Mm-hmm. One thinks that Trump is coming out to clean the swamp and to get rid of bureaucracy and to restructure the American government and everything, and that he ran on that last time, but he didn't really do anything like that during that time. Mm-mm. And I don't know if people thought that was what he was going to do this time now, but what he is doing is he's putting people in that have absolutely total allegiance to him, not to the Constitution, not to the government that they pledged their, they're supposed to give a pledge like on an operation
like he's a
day.
General, and they have the allegiance to him and not the Constitution. Now, This is a byproduct, and like this particular text, there have been hundreds of texts going out to people of color, um, women. I mean, a whole bunch of in colleges, really demeaning types of emails and texts. My daughter just shared this screenshot. This text was sent out to some of the black students at Duke University today. This is just the beginning. Go ahead and read what it says there.
Greetings. You've been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation. I don't know where that would be.
Uh-huh.
Be ready by 5 p.m. at estimated time. Executive slaves will come get you in a black van. Be prepared to be searched down once you enter the plantation. You are plantation group 4.
There were many of these out there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. What in the world? You know what are we to expect with this turn of events? With this, it's like the timeline has been changed. That we've got these creatures of the night that are not human, that are going to be governing the United States and eventually the world, because this is going to be a global thing. I mean, that guy, what was that speaker? No, what was it? That guy looks like he's some sort of.
Klaus Vance Schwab.
No, the guy that looks with all the Botox that he's nominated.
Oh, Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, looks like something from Captain Marvel. Some like evil villain type from Cap. I mean, I just
Bond villain.
Yeah, some sort of weird.
I mean, they made a big deal out of the plastic surgery or the Botox injections that he got right before the Republican National Convention. That he was pretty much fresh-faced from that, swollen.
Yeah.
And he's speaking and stuff. And people are like, that guy doesn't look the same. He looks like a different.
Who knows? He might be. I mean, are these people even human? I mean, are they? What are they? What kind of Twilight Zone episode? Oh, that's what that guy reminds me of. A lady that they did surgery to make her look beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she got a
pug nose. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's just beyond me. So, was this democracy stolen? What's next for this experiment we call the United States of America? And according to Susan Lin, whose video we watched, there are 3 possible timelines that could take place. So Susan discussed the recent election turmoil. This is like a summary of her video. Insights from her spirit guides and potential future outcomes for the U.S. democracy. There seems to be a lot of flamboyant individuals that have gotten involved because they swore that their spirit guides had Kamala as the winner.
Yeah, they could see her being inaugurated.
I could literally see her as the president. Like something happened, and you might think it's woo-woo, but hey, many of you believe in Sky Daddy and that Jesus came down and all this stuff. So
or you believe the election was stolen last time.
Yeah. So there's definitely, there's been some witchery done here, and it's, I don't know how it's going to turn out. That's all I could say. So
there's these 3 different timelines that can play out. She talks about, and one of them is election turmoil. Many believe the election results were manipulated, leading to a sense of anger and confusion. Data over facts. Viewers are encouraged to analyze data critically rather than accept narratives blindly.
Biden's role. Well, Susan emphasizes Biden's potential need to take decisive action to protect democracy, which is what he should be doing. But he had this lunch thing with Trump, and I don't know if they're all in it, because I've always said both wings belong to the same bird. There's a global thing that's happening, and the one world government, one world religion. So it's like it's like a script, like a play, like some sort of Hollywood production. Harris's disappointment. Kamala Harris feels crushed by the election outcome despite her effort, and she put a lot of heart and soul. I mean, the woman did not stop for those 90 days.
She didn't.
You know,
Moving and grooving.
Yeah.
Multiple timelines. Several potential futures are explored, including a return of Trump or a breakthrough for Harris. Justice and accountability. The need for accountability in the political system is highlighted as crucial for healing.
And that Kamala was supposed to have won, to bring in the feminine energy, to bring in the healing to our planet. It's part of what needed to happen. They corrupted the timeline. And now we've got even a deeper, more masculine energy that is super duper destructive. Justice and accountability. Okay. Personal empowerment. Individuals are encouraged to confront personal and societal bullies to foster change. And you look at Trump and you look at all his people and Fox News and all that. They're just big bullies. That's all they do is bully their way through. They bully their way, lying about things. It's just crazy.
I'm not sure this is really. It's not really giving information.
It just highlights conspiracy theory versus reality. The discussion about conspiracy theories illustrates the tension between perceived reality and the quest for truth, urging viewers to seek evidence rather than blindly trusting the narrative.
Bully dynamics. The metaphor of bullies in society extends to personal lives, suggesting that confronting local issues can lead to broader systemic change.
Biden's strategy. Susan believes Biden may need to act decisively to navigate the political landscape, reflecting his inner resolve as a leader.
Collective pain acknowledges that if Trump returns, the collective suffering may unify Americans, prompting a re-evaluation of values and priorities.
And that could be a possibility when people see how bad things are going to get.
When they go, wait a second, I thought we were going to pay less at the grocery store. We're now paying more.
Yeah.
What about all those Amazon products that I was buying? Now I got to pay a lot more if anything's coming from China, or if I'm getting any kind of groceries from Walmart or wherever from Mexico. Those avocados aren't going to be cheap.
No, because all the immigrants that pick the avocados are going to be deported.
And the tariffs.
So no one picking unless they get AI to do it. Maybe Elon Musk could muster a bunch of AIs to pick the fruits and vegetables. Hope for the future. Despite the chaos, there's a belief in the resilience of democracy, emphasizing personal responsibility and empowerment. Sometimes you need that fire or that, like when you have alchemy and people learn through suffering. And maybe this is a lesson that we humans have to learn.
Raising vibrations, the importance of individual well-being and maintaining a positive outlook is stressed as essential for collective healing and progress.
So the summary, Susan Lin discusses the aftermath of an election, expressing concerns about democratic integrity and prediction for future political events. It's pretty much the same thing. So we, like I said, I have no preference. I would have liked for her to have won, but I've always known that both political parties belong to the same bird. The elites are the ones running. That's why they never allow a third party to win, because the elites control both the Democratic and Republican Party.
Right.
So it's like, it doesn't matter. It's just like a theatrical event that takes place. And people are going to see something like they've never seen before. We've been listening to a lot of videos, and that seems to be the common theme.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening with regards to, like, just after he got elected, Elon Musk became even richer, because the stock market rallied Obviously for his products and stuff, it rallied for Tesla stock, for Starlink X stock, and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
um, they're set. He's set to make billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Totally. Let's see here. So there's a lot of talk regarding the Hopi prophecy, right? The is it the man with the red? What do they call it? The
The
red
red hats.
red hats. And so people are thinking that the Hopis prophesize Trump's upcoming presidency and his administration. Um, you said the other day that no, they're not really.
No, the Hopi elders don't believe that at all. They believe the message was more geared towards the Tibetan monks that, like the Dalai Lama, they've had a reunification with the Dalai Lama so that the East and the West minds met. These wisdom leaders from different parts of the country, and monks usually wear a red cape or gown or something like that, and they acknowledge that that was the fulfillment of that prophecy.
But the Christian nationalists and a lot of people that are in that conservative group are using this and saying, "See, even the Hopi have prophesied."
Yeah.
So we're gonna read you the Hopi message to humanity and what it actually talks about. Let's see. Okay, so when I taught at Princeton, I had a Hopi student. He had been chosen by his people to inherit the sacred lore when only a child. Once I asked him questions which he told me he could not answer, or to do so would lessen their power, I respected that statement. Then in his examination came not only all the answers to my questions about Chaucer's, but also Hopi analogs to the Canterbury Tales.
When this message came on the internet's email, I yearned to put it on the Julian site. In Hopi theology, it is crucial to create one place of goodness in the world, to save the world from its evil. My own home Hurst had once been such a place. Don Divo Barsati's Comunitia de Figli de Dio had been another. The Sabbath Eve at the Western Wall in Jerusalem, another. Now it is this Swiss-owned English quote-unquote cemetery in the midst of traffic as an island of peace in Florence. These are like Julian's hazelnut, the fragile blue marble held in the palms of our hands, which thus can cherish all the cosmos and ourselves so enthroning all the immensity of God's creation and love.
All the immensity, the unity which transcends all is the Holy Spirit, the gift which comes from the abyss and penetrates all and of itself in one indivisible, fills all things and transforms all the one to life. No one, no creature, nothing of the sky or above earth could adore you more. No one could know or admire you more. No one could serve you or love you more. Illuminated by the Spirit, baptized in the flame, whoever you are. Layperson, nun, or priest, you are the throne of God. You are the dwelling. You are the instrument. You are the light of God.
Sergius of Rodinez is Julian of Norwich's Russian contemporary. Nothing has survived of St. Sergius' writings. This poem came in a dream to Don Divo Barsati, CFD, and is influenced by Blessed Julian.
Hello, this message is long but worth reading. The glass house, the author refers to the United Nations. I found this message to be quite moving and an exclusive call for peace and justice. Apparently, the Hopi have been continually trying to broadcast this to the public. However, they have met with resistance from the media and the government. Wonder why? Please pass it on to your friends. I received this today and hope you have the time to read through it and reflect on it. With prayers for peace, in your work, your fulfillment, part of Earth's fondest dream assigned to you when the dream is born. Kali Gibran.
The Hopi message of peace to all. From Hoda Villa, Arizona, in the Hopi sovereign nation, Chief Don Avechima, eldest elder, in his latest message to mankind, says, I am very glad to have this time to send a message to you. We are celebrating a time in our history which is both filled with joy and sadness. I'm very glad that our Hindu brothers have given us this opportunity to share these feelings with you because we know many of you are having the same troubles. We hope you believe that the human race has passed through 3 different worlds and life ways since the beginning.
At the end of each trial world, human life had been purified or punished by the Great Spirit, Masau, due mainly to corruption, greed, and turning away from the Great Spirit's teaching. The last great destruction was the flood, which destroyed all but few faithful ones who asked and received permission from the Great Spirit to live with him in his new land.
The Great Spirit said, It is up to you, if you're willing to live my poor, humble, and simple way of life. It is hard, but if you agree to live according to my teachings and instructions, if you never lose faith in the life I shall give you, you may come and live with me. The Hopi and all who were saved from the great flood made a sacred covenant with the Great Spirit at that time.
We Hopi made an oath that we will never turn away from him. For us, the Creator laws never change or break down. To the Hopi, the Great Spirit is all powerful. He appeared to the first people as a man and talked with them in the beginning of his creation world. He taught us how to live, to worship, where to go, and what food to carry, gave us seeds to plant and harvest. It sounds like one of the fallens that came, like one of the many that came down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gave us a set of sacred stone tablets into which he breathed all teachings in order to safeguard his land and life. In these stone tablets were made instructions and prophecies and warnings. This was done by the help of a spider woman and her 2 grandsons. They were wise and powerful helpers of the Great Spirit.
Before the Great Spirit went into hiding, he and Spider Woman put before the leaders of the different groups of people many colors and sizes of corn for them to choose their food in this world. The Hopi was the last to pick and then chose their food in the world. The Hopi then chose the smallest ear of corn. The Masu said, You have shown me you are wise and humble.
For this reason, you will be called Hopi, people of peace. In Chinese, peace is Hope Ying, which means food for all, JBH. And I will place in your authority all land and life to guard, protect, and hold trust for me until I return to you in later days, for I am the first and the last.
This is why, when a Hopi is ordained into the higher religious order, the earth and all living things are placed upon his hands. He becomes a parent to all life on earth. So very different from the Christian faith, right? He's entitled to advise and correct his children in whatever peaceful way he can. So we can never give up knowing that our message of peace will reach our children. Then it's together with the other spiritual leaders, the destiny of our future children in place.
We're instructed to hold this world in balance within the land and the many universes with special prayers and ritual which continue to this day. It was to the Spider Woman's 2 grandsons the sacred stone tablets were given. These 2 brothers were then instructed to carry them to a place the Great Spirit had instructed them. The older brother was to go immediately to the east, to the rising sun, and upon reaching his destination, was instructed to immediately start to look for his younger brother, who shall remain in the land of the Great Spirit.
The older brother's mission when he returned was to help his younger brother, Hopi, bring about peace, brotherhood, and everlasting life on his return. Hopi, the younger brother, was instructed to cover all land and mark it well with footprints and sacred markings to claim this land for the Creator and peace on earth. We establish our ceremonial and sacred shrines to hold this world in balance in accordance with our first promise to the Creator.
This is how our migration story goes until we meet the Creator at Old Oribe, place that solidifies over 1,000 years ago. It was at that meeting when he gave to us these prophecies to give to you now at this closing of the 4th world of destruction and the beginning of the fifth world of peace. He gave us many prophecies to pass on to you, and all have come to pass. This is how we know the timing is now to reveal the last warnings and instructions to mankind.
We were told to settle permanently here in Hopi land, where we met the Great Spirit and wait for older brother who went east to return to us. When he returns to his land, he will place a stone tablets side by side to show all the world that they are true brothers. When the road in the sky has been fulfilled, and when the inventing of something in Hopi means gourd of ashes, a gourd that when drops upon the earth will boil everything within a large space and nothing will grow for a very long time.
When the leaders turned to evil ways instead of the Great Spirit, we were told there would be many ways this life may be destroyed. If humankind does not heed our prophecy and return to one's original spiritual instructions. We were told of three helpers who were commissioned by the Great Spirit to help Hopi bring about the peaceful life on earth would appear to help us, and we should not change our homes, our ceremonials, our hair, because the true helpers might not recognize us as the true Hopi.
So we have been waiting all these years. It is known that our true white brother, when he comes, we will be all powerful and will wear a red cap or a red cloak. He will be large in population, belong to no religion but his very own. He will bring with him the sacred stone tablets. With him there will be two great ones, both very wise and powerful. One will have a symbol of sign of swastika, which represents purity, and is female and producer of life.
The third one, or the second one of the two helpers to our true white brother, will have a sign of a symbol of the sun. He too will be many people and very wise and powerful. We have in our sacred Kachina ceremonies a gourd rattle, which is still in use today with these symbols of these powerful helpers of our true brother. It is also prophesied that if these three fail to fulfill their mission, then the one from the west will come like a big storm.
He will be many in numbers and unmerciful. When he comes, he will cover the land like the red ants and overtake his land in one day. If the three helpers chosen by the Creator fulfill their sacred mission, and even if there are only one, two, or three of the true Hopi remaining holding fast to the last ancient teachings and instructions, the Great Spirit, Masau, will appear before all, and our world will be saved.
The three will lay out a new life plan which leads to everlasting life and peace. The earth will become new as it was from the beginning. Flowers will bloom again. Wild game will return to barren lands, and there will be the abundance of food for all. Those who are saved will share everything equally, and they will all recognize Great Spirit and speak one language.
Share everything equally. We are now faced with great problems, not only here, but throughout the land. Ancient cultures are being annihilated. Our people's lands are being taken from them, leaving them no place to call their own. Why is this happening? It is happening because many have given up or manipulated their original spiritual teachings.
The way of life which the Great Spirit has given to all its people of the world, whatever your original instructions, are not being held. It is because of this great sickness called greed, which infects every land and country, that simple people are losing what they have kept for thousands of years.
Now we are the very end of our trail. Many people no longer recognize the true path of the Great Spirit. They have, in fact, no respect for the Great Spirit or for our precious Mother Earth, who gives us all life. We are instructed in our ancient prophecy that this would occur. We were told that someone would try to go up to the moon, that they would bring something back from the moon, and that after all that, nature would show signs of losing balance.
Now we see that coming about. All over the world, there are now many signs that nature is no longer in balance. Floods, drought, earthquakes, and great storms are occurring and causing much suffering. We do not want this to occur in our country, and we pray to the Great Spirit to save us from such things. But there are now signs that this very same thing might happen very soon on our own land. Now we must look upon each other as brothers and sisters.
There is no more time for division between people. Today, I call upon all of us from right here at home, Hatavila, where we too are guilty of gossiping and causing divisions, even among our own families, out to the entire world where thievery, wars, and lying goes on every day. These divisions will not be our salvation. Wars only bring more wars, never peace.
Only by joining together in a spiritual peace with love in our hearts for one another, love in our hearts for the Great Spirit and Mother Earth, shall we be saved from the terrible purification day, which is just ahead. There are many of you in this world who are honest people. We know you spiritually, for we are the Men's Society grandfathers who have been charged to pray for you and all life on earth, never forgetting anything or anyone in our ceremonies.
Our prayers is to have a good, happy life, plenty of soft, gentle rain for abundant crops. We pray for balance on earth, to live in peace and live a beautiful world to the children yet to come. We know you have good hearts, but good hearts are not enough to help us out with this great problems.
In the past, some of you have tried to help us Hopis, and we will always be thankful for your efforts. But now we need your help in the worst way. We want the people of the world to know the truth of our situation. This land, which people call the land of the freedoms, celebrates many days, reminding people of the world of these things. Sounds like what Trump was trying to do.
Yeah.
Yet in well over 200 years, the original Americans have not seen a free day. We are suffering the final insult. Our people are now losing the one thing which gives life and meaning of life, our ceremonial land, which is being taken away from us.
Hatavila is the last holy, consecrated, undisturbed traditional Native American sacred shrine to the Creator. As the prophet says, the sacred shrine must keep its spiritual pathway open. This village is the spiritual vortex for the Hopi to guide many awakening Native Americans and other true hearts home to their own unique culture. Hatavila was established by the last remaining spiritual elders to maintain peace and balance on this continent from the tip of South America up to Alaska.
Many of our friends say Hodavilla is a sacred shrine, a national and world treasure, and must be preserved. We need your help. Where is the freedom which you all fight for and sacrifice your children for? Is it only the Indian people who have lost, or are all Americans losing the very thing which you originally came here to find? We don't share the freedom of the press because what gets into the papers is what the government wants people to believe, not what is really happening.
We have no freedom of speech because we are persecuted by our own people for speaking our beliefs. We are at the final stages now, and there's the last force that is about to take away our remaining homeland. We are still being denied many things, including the right to be Hopis and to make our living in accordance with our religious teaching. The Hopi leaders have warned leaders in the White House and the leaders of the Glass House, but they do not listen.
So, as our prophecy says, then it must be up to the people with good, pure hearts that will not be afraid to help us to fulfill our destiny in peace for this world. We now stand at a crossroad, whether to lead ourselves in everlasting life or total destruction. We believe that human beings' spiritual power through prayer is so strong it decides life on earth. So many people have come to Hopi Land to meet with us. Some of you we have met on your lands.
Many times people have asked how they can help us. Now I hope and pray that your help will come. If you have a way to spread the truth through the newspapers, radio, books, through meetings with powerful people, tell the truth. Tell them what you know to be true. Tell them what you have seen here, what you have heard us say, what you have seen with your own eyes.
In this way, if we do fall, let it be said that we tried right up to the end to hold fast to the path of peace as we were originally instructed to do by the Great Spirit. Should you really succeed, we will all realize our mistakes of the past and return to the true path, living in harmony as brothers and sisters, sharing our mother, the earth, with all other living creatures.
With all that Trump is fighting for to return the immigrants back to their country and all this division, they're going so against. So how can he be?
I don't
I don't
understand it because he's going to take away their sacred ceremonial lands and put them up to be mined and stripped of their natural resources.
He's the destructor. In this way, we could bring about a new world, a world which would be led by the Great Spirit and our Mother, would provide plenty of happiness for all. God bless you, each one of you, and know our prayers for peace meet yours as the sun rises and sets. May the Great Spirit guide your safety into the path of love, peace, freedom, and God on this mother earth. May the holy ancestor of love and light keep you safe in your lands and homes.
Pray for God to give you something important to do in this great work which lies ahead of us all to bring peace on earth. We, the Hopi, still hold the sacred stone tablets and now await the coming of our true white brother and others seriously ready to work for the Creator's peace on earth. Be well, my children, and think good thoughts of peace and togetherness. Peace for all life on earth and peace with one another in our homes, families, and countries.
We are not so different in the Creator's eyes. The same great Father, Son shines his love on each of us daily, just as Mother Earth prepares the substance for our table. Do they not? We are one after all. Yep. So, I don't know. I mean, their prophecy has been pretty spot on, all the different things that they've mentioned in the past. We're seeing the things that they're unfolding, like what happened in North Carolina. That was indigenous land. It's like all these places. What was it we saw today down in
Honduras?
In Honduras, amazing amount of rain. It's just
like a hurricane that's stuck at sea.
Yeah,
literally dumping 20 inches of rain or something. It's crazy
stuff. So I believe, and then as we've talked before about all the different types of civilization and this whole concept that we're only 6,000 years old according to the Christian faith, there couldn't be more off on the timeline. There has to have been many other before our civilization. Everywhere over our earth, there are discoveries of ancient buildings being uncovered almost daily now. Bones of humans, animals, giant skeletons of human giants that were discovered and hidden pretty quickly by a particular church, quote unquote. I think we would be very naive to think we are all there is and was. So there's this thing that I found. Let's see. Oops. Go ahead, start there.
On a planet called Earth, over 7 billion people were bustling about their daily lives. Each year, tens of millions were born, and tens of millions died, leaving traces of their existence in the air, water, soil, and even space. Yet these signs would not last forever. In a few hundred years, our buildings would crumble, our stone monuments, plastic, styrofoam, and even the evidence of our nuclear endeavors would be faded away.
This realization led to an intriguing question. How could we be sure that we were the first advanced civilization on Earth? According to the Silurian hypothesis, we couldn't. This hypothesis posed a fascinating premise that perhaps long before human, there might have been other advanced civilization that left no trace for us to find. The idea of the Silurian hypothesis was inspired by an episode of Doctor Who where intelligent reptilian creatures called Silurians awakened from 400 million years of hibernation due to nuclear testing. While this was a work of fiction, the hypothesis raises a profound possibility. What if there were once other advanced civilizations on Earth that have completely vanished?
Humans often think, especially if you grew up in church
Yep.
environment, that their existence and their civilization are eternal. But history teaches us otherwise. Take ancient Egypt, for instance. For over 3,000 years and across 30 dynasties, Egyptians lived under the shadow of the pyramids, fished the Nile, and mingled with other cultures. To them, their civilization seemed everlasting, yet it too disappeared. Similar fates befell the Mesopotamians, the Indus Valley civilization, the Greeks, the Nubians, Persians, Romans, Incas, and Aztecs. These great empires, once thriving with millions, left behind scant evidence of their grandeur.
Modern humans have been around for about 100,000 years, a mere blip in the hundreds of millions of years that complex life has existed here on Earth. Given this vast expanse of time, it's conceivable that other intelligent species might have risen and fallen long before us would even know they had been here.
Adam Frank and Gavin Schmidt explored this in their paper on the Silurian hypotheses. They pointed out that our usual methods of studying ancient societies through artifacts and ruins only work for relatively recent history. When you want to look millions of years back, things get complicated. Earth's surface itself is dynamic, constantly reshaped by plate tectonics. Today's mountains were once ocean floors, and new lands form as old ones erode. The oldest surface land discovered, the Negev Desert, is only about 1.8 million years old.
Even fossils, or primary windows into ancient life, are rare. Specific conditions are needed for fossilization, hard body parts, rapid burial, high pressure, and low oxygen. Despite dinosaurs roaming the Earth for 180 million years, we have only a few thousand near complete fossils. The odds of finding evidence of a short lived species like Homo sapiens in the fossil records are slim.
Furthermore, less than 1% of Earth's surface is urbanized today. Artifacts like roads, cities, and machines would decay and disappear within a few thousand years. Even the aftermath of a nuclear war would eventually fade away. To detect ancient, advanced civilizations, scientists must look for indirect evidence.
The Silurian hypothesis suggests looking for markers of industrialization on a global scale. One key marker is changes in the isotopic composition of elements, which can be detected in sedimentary layers. For instance, human activities have altered the nitrogen cycle and increased the levels of certain metals like gold, lead, and platinum. Most notably, the burning of fossil fuels has changed the carbon isotope ratio in the atmosphere, known as the Suez effect, which is detectable in sediment cores.
Interestingly, a sudden global change in carbon and oxygen isotope levels was observed 56 million years ago during the Paleocene Eocene thermal maximum, PETM. The PETM saw Earth's temperature rise by 6 degrees Celsius over 200,000 years, with fossil carbon levels spiking. Some scientists speculate that a massive volcanic eruption caused this, but the exact cause remains unknown. Could it have been evidence of an ancient civilization? Probably not, but it does show how such an event could leave a detectable mark.
The Silurian hypothesis, while not proving the existence of ancient civilization, provide a framework for searching for them, not just on Earth, but also on other planets. The Drake equation estimates the number of extraterrestrial civilization in our galaxy, suggesting there could be anywhere from 150,000 to 1.5 billion. If intelligent life can arise multiple times on a single planet, as the Solarian hypothesis proposes, it opens up exciting possibilities for finding civilizations throughout the galaxy.
Mars, once warmer and wetter, and Europa, one of Jupiter's moons with its saltwater ocean, are prime candidates for such investigations. While the authors of the Silurian hypotheses don't believe ancient civilizations existed on Earth before humans, Their ideas give us tools to explore and perhaps someday discover the rich tapestry of life that may have once existed, both on Earth and beyond.
And I we know so little. We only know the small chapter of what Christianity pushes down people's throats. They ignore all the other belief system, all the other civilizations that have been around. Um, I totally believe that Christianity is all made up of plagiarism, and they've lied, and it's not at all where we've come from. The our true beginnings. But we are going to find out.
There's just so much more in the historical record. I mean, if you look at ancient tablets that only in recent times have, and when I talk recent, like in the last 200 years, have been able to be deciphered and translated. I mean, these were tablets that nobody knew existed, up until 150 years ago. Some of these Sumerian tablets and Akkadian writings and things like that. I mean, they were lost to humanity for a long time.
Yeah.
And we have like evidence of like these civilizations that existed with years, not in, like reigns, not in the amount of like a century, but like in shars, which is like 3,500 years or 30,000 years. I mean, some crazy amounts of numbers, when it comes to what was here before. Because like you don't have to be a rocket scientist to go into this state in particular. Go to the site over there, the Grand Canyon, or you go to like some other sites around, that they just, it's like, remember we would drive through on our way to Tucson from Silver City. We go through a place called Texas Canyon. Be like, wait a minute, this is like a stage for some massive destruction.
God's
or the
fighting.
City of Rocks, even.
God's fighting amongst each other and trying to, because there's many deities. There's many, like what the Hopis are talking about. There's just one, like whatever you want to call him, fallen angel or extraterrestrial that came down from, like, think of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Think of all these like sci-fi movies where you see this reptile looking thing that comes down and tries to like take control, or any of the
Or
Marvel.
one that brings wisdom to the people to help them navigate through a certain perilous time in their
But
life.
I don't know what's going to take place. We are seeing a lot of like different things happen.
There's been a lot of big, large. Oh wow, you just disappeared.
Oh, I disappeared.
Big, large full moons lately. I mean, it's kind of like unprecedented.
Mhm.
Like we were walking this morning, we saw another big yellow moon, and we're just like, is this our moon,
or is this another planet that's like orbiting and we don't know what it is? We're definitely living in exciting times. That's for sure.
But when the pterodactyls start flying out of the Superstition Mountain back
that
there,
or all the UFOs, I've been dreaming that since I was a kid. All of a sudden the sky is full of these flying objects and people are screaming. There's definitely some interesting things, and these bloodlines that are ruling the world, they're preparing the stage for what's going to take place.
the crazy thing is that we think about what we were reading about with Trump and the celebration of 250 years of America's existence as a country, and his like hearkening back to the time of Tartarian Empire. Like he even mentions it in some of his conversations, like they have these big buildings that we don't know how how they built them, and they were grandiose, and it's like he like has this reminiscence of like empire as it used to be, and these big buildings, and even in his own like Mar-a-Lago estate, and his own Trump Tower, and his over like
he's part
grandiose.
of. I think his bloodline comes from. Just all you have to do is look at that his kid.
But see, the thing is that some people think of the Tartarian Empire, they think that it was a benevolent, good empire, and something tells me that maybe it's not. It was like when they really had a control of humanity, and humanity was under their thumb. They were owned and they were controlled, and the elite and the powerful ran this world. Like the concept of the Georgia Guidestones, which had said that billions of people would be eliminated.
Yeah, because they want to keep the world at a certain number. But funny enough, they destroyed those Georgia Guidestones, which was very weird.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up. We're living on some sort of movie. What sci-fi?
Truth is stranger than fiction.
So that's all we got. We went to see Elevation last week.
Yeah, Elevation.
And disappearing again. And
Heretic.
We enjoyed Elevation. It was really, really good. When we were reading earlier about things being asleep in the ground and coming back, well, that's what happened in the Elevation movie. But they were kind of like AI-ish. They weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't organic.
But who knows if AI is actually ancient technology?
Yeah, who knows? We don't know. We really don't know anything. We've been lied to about everything. But I think we're going to find out a lot of things. I think we're really revelation. Things are going to be revealed. And we're going to find out that Christianity was definitely not the religion, and that we don't need a savior, that we have the Christ consciousness within us. And if you meditate, you tap into your inner source, you will be given a lot of wisdom and a lot of growth. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
So, and then the other movie was Heretic, and that was a weird one. That was like a bunch of Christian girls that went in Mormon. Yeah.
They were witnessing part of their mission, was to go be a part of this, with the church and someplace in, I think is it Colorado?
Somewhere.
And basically they went to the wrong person's house. Let's just say. Yeah.
Things got pretty hairy.
The lead character, sinister guy, was Hugh Grant, and he played a very, very evil person who had his issues with Christianity or Mormonism or whatever ism. But there were some parts of that movie where he broke down the state of the religious scandal that has been sold to humanity, and just how the story of the Savior is not unique to Christianity.
No.
That it's a story of Tammuz, it's a story of Horus and Isis, and these legends are not unique. I mean, if you're a Christian, you don't understand that historically your story that you think is yours and new and is like unimitable, and is like, it's just one of a kind, has been told before, thousands of years before Christianity came into existence. These stories were already out there in humanity and civilization.
New kids on the block, and stories have been repurposed, they have been plagiarized. There's nothing authentic about it. Your Bible is not authentic. It doesn't even make any chronological sense. Everything has been translated incorrectly and put there just to keep you dumbed down, duped, and obedient. pretty much.
Most
But-
Christians don't ever read their Bible.
No,
anyway,
they don't. They don't even know what's in there. And
Right.
if you read what was in there, you wouldn't be a Christian.
No.
Which is what happened to us.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. Anyway, guys, I guess that's all we got for you guys today. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope that you're able to stay safe with these changing times. We don't know what the future holds. I advise people to meditate, really get to know who you truly are, get physically active, eliminate the foods that don't belong in your body. We're going to need all the source that we can get to stay healthy, to stay safe, to stay sane.
Maybe we could do next week's show on R.J. Spina's book that I'm reading.
Oh, yeah.
And have like a little, like, quick look over on that book
Sure.
and stuff, because it's got some really great
Empowering
information that we all need. We all need to hear and understand what our true isness is.
Mhm.
It's like it's not this. It's not the physical body.
No.
We're so much more than that. We're so much more than we've been told. And I think that book is a good starter for people to really understand. This guy literally healed himself in 100 days or something from some really chronic illnesses.
That paralyzed him.
He was paralyzed from the neck down. And he had like diabetes, pancreatitis, hypothyroidism.
You name it.
And
he was told he would never walk again.
Yeah. And he refused to believe it. And he healed himself. His name is R.J. Spina. If you want to look him up on YouTube or any of his books that he has written. But
it's important. I think that people need to stop looking to the material goods, looking for all the acclimates with that they make us follow, get a college degree, get a great job, all this money in the bank. But, all that has to happen is a little thing like that where Mother Earth decides to show her fury. And all the stuff that you worked for, all the stuff that you had, gone in an instant. Gone. 1 minute you're healthy, the next minute you're not. You can't walk, you can't. We're so fragile in this physical form. And we need to really learn how to tap in to our true self, our true inner self, our spirit form. Because that's basically, that's all you really got. Everything else is an illusion. Everything else fades. You can't take it with you when you go. So you got to prepare for the afterlife. And not some Jesus story or some Bible thumping. None of that's going to help. That's only going to confuse you more and make you more messed up. In our humble opinion. But, everyone's got to go through what they go through. And that's how it is. But, guys, catch you next weekend. Love you guys. Always love yourselves.